everyone, and welcome to Vichkovsky Tarot with me, Vichkovsky. Today's pick a card reading is going to be on Saturn Retrograde, which started on the 11th of May. Now, Saturn Retrograde is about a time for challenging yourself and facing fears. So we have got a 5-card spread. We've got the blue gem, a clear crystal, a green gem, a bullet shell, and a black stone for your message for Saturn Retrograde. We're going to be looking at the main theme and energy experienced in this retrograde, a major lesson that you need to learn, what to keep in mind, what you need to revisit that you originally thought you were done with, and what will be your reward for being thorough and making it through this retrograde. So I'm going to leave this up on the screen for about 10 seconds or so you can pause the video, you can pick a card that is calling to you, and then I'll put the timings in the description box below, along with all my social media links to my Patreon, my Facebook, my Twitter, my Instagram, and everything else in between. Okay, so this is our reading for the blue crystal. So if you pick the blue crystal, this is the reading for you, and I'll turn all the cards over and we'll go through them one by one. Okay, so we have pulled the 3 of Cups reversed, the Knight of Wands reversed, the 4 of Pentacles, the 4 of Cups reversed, and the 5 of Pentacles. Now we'll start immediately with the 3 of Cups reversed, representing the main theme and main energy for the Saturn retrograde. And I feel like this is a pretty obvious card. It sort of expresses this idea that you will be expending a lot of energy on those around you, and perhaps won't be feeling as though you're getting the support back that you necessarily mean. This card sort of implies a very emotional energy, a very free-falling kind of support system, but I feel like you won't be receiving the support that you need at the moment. You'll be expending a lot of your emotions on those around you and putting others before yourself. A major lesson that needs to be learned, we have pulled the Knight of Wands. Now this card implies to me quite a hot-headed, very quick to put plan into action kind of character. There's a very fast thinking, gotta keep moving, gotta get going, gotta get things done character with this card. So I feel like the major lesson that you need to learn is sort of how to slow down. And I feel like this definitely links back to our 3 of Cups card, with this idea that you're very quick to move on to the next thing, and you're very quick to look after the next person, and you're very quick to just do the next thing that avoids you having to actually take a stop and take a breath and maybe even think about yourself, or maybe just look at the current situation that you're in. So we then have the 4 of Pentacles as what to keep in mind if the sun would stop shining through. There we go. We've got the 4 of Pentacles for what to keep in mind. And I feel like this card very much battles with these last 2 cards, with this idea that you need to remind yourself that progress is still made, even if you're not always doing something. As though you've put down projects, you've planted seeds of projects that you want to get done, and you can water them, you can look after them, you can nurture them, but you don't always have to be moving forward, taking always steps forward. You can sometimes just have a break, have a sit down, relax, and watch progress fall before you. Now, so this card, as what you need to keep in mind is that you are allowed to take a break sometimes. You are allowed to just sit back and watch things fall before you and watch things grow before you. Even if it might not feel that you're doing anything, or what you feel is being quite slow, you need to remind yourself to have some form of patience, and that progress is going to happen regardless. And sometimes progress does happen when you just sit back. You don't always have to be rushing towards getting things done. So for what you need to revisit that you thought you were done with, we have got the 4 of Cups here. Now again, I feel this links directly back to our 3 of Cups card, with this idea that you need to actually revisit your own emotional well-being. It feels as though there is such a drive to be working on things. There is such a drive to be working on projects that you're actually neglecting yourself in a way. You're actually neglecting your own emotional well-being by giving yourself so much to focus on and giving yourself so much to do. And it feels as though you're trying very hard to keep others out of the water, and you're trying so hard to keep others stable that you're pushing yourself back. You're pushing yourself to the back of the queue, and you're not looking after yourself. Even if you might think that because you're getting on with so much stuff and because you're doing so many things that you're fine, but because people assume that a busy person is a happy person, it doesn't necessarily mean that. You can keep yourself busy, but it's normally used as a distraction or a coping mechanism. So I feel like Saturn is really urging you to actually look at your own emotional well-being and actually look at how you're feeling and whether you are as emotionally stable as you would like to portray to those around you. So ultimately, what will be your reward? We have got the Five of Pentacles. Now, it's very interesting that we've got the Three of Cups and the Four of Cups, and then the Four of Cups and the Five of Cups. So there is so much progression in this reading. It's just a case of actually taking the time to appreciate it. So we have the Five of Pentacles here, sorry. So this implies to me that your reward will actually be almost finding this courage within yourself to reach out and actually having the courage to maybe even ask for help for what you're trying to work on, or even ask for help for emotional support from those around you. There's a real potential for achievement, and there's a real potential for gain and reward for this card, which is literally representing reward in itself. So I feel like if you are thorough this Saturn retrograde with actually sort of acknowledging where you need help, acknowledging what you're actually doing with your time, acknowledging what you're actually doing with your emotions, you can get so much out of this, and you can get so much worth and value to your person. It's just a sense of actually giving yourself the patience to acknowledge what is going on around you. So that is our reading for the blue gem. If it resonated with you, please let me know in the comments. If you like the reading, please leave a thumbs up. As I said, I've got all my links in the description below, so please go follow those. And if you are already signed up to my Patreon, thank you so much. Your support means so much to me. So thank you for joining me in this video. I will see you next week. Okay, so we are now on the reading for the clear crystal. Oh, it just disappeared. There you go. So if you pick this one, this is for you. We'll turn these cards over one by one and then go through them. So we have pulled the Two of Pentacles reversed, the Hierophant reversed, the Six of Wands reversed, the Nine of Pentacles, and the Ten of Pentacles. Now there is a lot of earth energy in this reading, so perhaps if you're an earth sign, this is why it was drawn to you. And if you are an earth sign, let me know in the comments, because that would be very interesting. Okay, so we'll look at the Two of Pentacles first as your main theme for Saturn retrograde, and this card implies to me this idea of feeling lost in the woods. There's this idea, there's this energy radiating from this card with this idea that you might feel a little bit less stable or a little bit less grounded than you normally would feel. You don't exactly know the direction that you're headed in at the moment. You kind of have a bit of a destination, but you're unsure of how to get there. You don't quite know the route that you're taking at the moment, and you're just not quite sure about where to look for help. So that is the main theme of the energy for this Saturn retrograde. So we have the Hierophant for a major lesson you need to learn, and it feels as though this card is suggesting that something you need to learn for this Saturn retrograde is that you can't always put off helping yourself to help others. It feels as though you're quite a quick person to give guidance to others, and you're quite quick to be seen as a mediator for others, and others come to you, and others bear their problems on you, and others bear their disputes with you, and you are very easy to talk to, and you are very easy to help solve problems. But this doesn't always reflect so well on you, because it means that you're not actually putting yourself first. You're so focused on others, regardless of their intentions, regardless of what they might actually be coming to you for. So I feel like perhaps a lesson to learn for Saturn retrograde is to stop being such a leader to others and actually start being a leader to yourself in its own way. What to keep in mind, we have pulled the Six of Wands. Now this card I feel relates quite nicely with the Hierophant card that we just looked at, with this idea that a lesson that you need to learn is that you can't always be so blind to your own journey. Much like I was saying with the Two of Pentacles, with the main theme being having a destination but not knowing how to get there. It feels like you're kind of waiting for it to come to you. You're waiting for it to show itself to you, and you're not focusing on yourself. Your focus is so elsewhere that you're not actually seeing what you have ahead of you, and you're not actually looking for what you could have ahead of you to get you out of this situation. This could again link back to this Hierophant card with this idea that, oh, my toes are coming out, with this idea that you're so focused on looking after others that you're not looking after yourself, so you're therefore not looking at the progress of your own journey. Which, again, as we move forward to our Nine of Pentacles card for what you need to revisit that you thought you were done with, this card literally urges you to look ahead and to look at what you've got around you to use to your benefit, and look around at the resources that you have to push you forward and to get you into the future and to get you to where you want to be. And it feels like if you perhaps, as I was saying with the Two of Pentacles, had this destination in mind, you're not actually looking around at what you have around you. You're waiting for it to show itself to you, but you're sort of being blind to what you have actually got to your disposal and what you actually have to get you to where you want to be. So something that you do need to revisit is actually what you have to use and the resources that you have. And this could be in material aspects, this could be in financial aspects, this could be in general branching out towards other people. It's just a case of actually realizing what you have to your potential and what you have to add to your journey. And finally, we have the Ten of Pentacles as your reward. And again, we've got a 9 and we've got a 10 here. So there is definite progression and definite potential in this reading to achieve said reward. And your reward seems to be actually finding this place of grounding and actually finding this place of feeling comfortable and feeling at home and being surrounded with projects and materials that bring you this sense of indulgence and bring you this sense of worth and value and happiness and security and safety, something you feel that it is worth protecting. Which again, I feel just combines all these cards together with an overall message. So if you take all of these as guidance, everything that this reading has given you as guidance, you can actually achieve your own sense of grounding, and you can actually achieve this sense of security that you have been looking for, that we have gone through in this reading. So that was my reading for the clear crystal for Saturn retrograde. If it resonated with you, please let me know in the comments. If you liked it, please leave this a like. Thank you for your support and for watching my video. I've got all my links in the description below, so you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and there's even a link to my Patreon if you would like to join my Patreon. So thank you again. So this is now our reading for the green gem. Okay, so we have pulled the Page of Cups, the Seven of Cups, I can't count, the Six of Swords reversed, the Eight of Wands reversed, and the King of Cups. There's a lot of water energy in this reading, a lot of emotional energy in this reading. So if you're perhaps a water sign, let me know in the comments, because that would be really interesting. And maybe this is why this reading called itself to you. And we have got the Page of Cups representing your general theme for Saturn retrograde. Now this card implies to me this energy of sort of inexperience and possessive energy, as though you've built up so much in yourself to push yourself forward and to push yourself to start to tread the water, that now that you've done this and now that you've got to where you are, you're almost unwilling to share this experience with others, and you're unwilling to actually open up to others about what you're currently working on or what you're currently going through. So we move on to what major lesson needs to be learned, and we have got the Seven of Cups. Now this implies to me that what you need to learn is this ability to sort of be more trusting, this ability to sort of be more open and be more aware of the support system that you have around you, and being more aware of that others around you help you grow, and others around you can give you the ability to relax a bit more and give you the ability to actually, instead of having to push yourself into the water, you can just float by with it. You don't have to throw yourself into the deep end necessarily. So we then move on to the cards what to keep in mind, and I'm really interested in the what to keep in mind and the what you need to revisit, because it feels to me that there's this idea that perhaps you've been let down in the past, which is perhaps why you've sort of embraced this energy of the Page of Cups with this possessiveness, that you're unwilling to open up and share with others because of how you've been let down in the past, and you feel that there's a mistake that you've made by sharing with someone and they've sort of stabbed you in the back, so to speak. So we look at the Six of Swords reversed as your what to keep in mind. And it is this idea of holding on to what has sort of let you down in the past. There's this idea of holding on to what has stabbed you in the back in the past, and instead of using it as a lesson, you're sort of carrying it with you. Instead of using this experience as a lesson, you're using it to weigh yourself down, and you're using it as a weight on your shoulders, as opposed to something to spur you forward and something to learn from. Which I feel then resonates back to our Seven of Cups card with our lesson to learn, of this idea of actually allowing the weight off of your shoulders and allowing yourself to learn how to express to others and learn how to share with others in a more trusting way. Which then again brings us to the Eight of Wands reversed as what you need to revisit. So it feels like you do actually need to acknowledge this, I would want to say, betrayal, this what feels like a mistake that you made in your past. You need to revisit it, and you need to acknowledge it, and you need to actually look at where it's taken you and look at how far you've actually come from it, and actually look back at what you can learn from it and what you can take away from it. And instead of turning it into something that holds you into the past, turning it into steps that can take you forward, so to speak, and using this knowledge as something to bring to newer projects, as opposed to just bringing this possessive energy. You can actually use this idea of working with others without always being worried that they're going to turn it against you in their own way. So finally, as a reward, you will get the King of Cups. Now, again, as I've said in our last two readings, we have a lot of progression. We have got the Page of Cups to the King of Cups, and we've also got 6, 7, 8. So there is a lot of potential and growth and progression in this reading, as long as you sort of take it with a pinch of salt and with a bit of guidance, and you use it for your Saturn retrograde. So your overall reward is actually going to be a lot of emotional balance and a lot of emotional security, and this idea of actually being at peace and actually feeling freer and feeling open and having this very meditative state and feeling very tolerable and very tolerant of perhaps if someone does let you down in the future, you won't allow it to weigh you down as much. You'll just use it as, this is an experience, this is a lesson, I'm going to take this to the next thing that I work on and I'm going to learn from it, as opposed to worrying about it and affecting your future with it. So there is a lot of rewards coming with this reading if you take it as a bit of guidance for your Saturn retrograde. So that was my reading for the green gem, which has disappeared in my cloth. So if that resonates with you, please let me know in the comments. And if you like the video, please leave me a like. I've got all my links in the description, so you can find me on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and you can even join my Patreon. Thank you for your support, and I will see you next week for next week's Pick a Card reading. Okay, so we are now on the bullet shell for your Saturn retrograde reading. So I'll turn these cards over one by one, and we will have a look. So we have got the Magician. I need to change the screen brightness. Apparently it just keeps changing. The Seven of Wands reversed, the Wheel of Fortune reversed, the Nine of Swords reversed, and the Ace of Cups. Okay, so we'll look at the main theme and energy for this Saturn retrograde, and we have got the Magician. Now this card implies to me that perhaps you're quite an open person, you're maybe even quite a spiritual person, you're very in touch and in tune with seeing synchronicities, seeing signs, seeing symbols, and you are quite happy to sit back and allow things to present themselves to you. You don't openly seek things out, you allow them, you notice them of course, but you allow them to present themselves to you. So we'll move on to the major lesson that you need to learn, and we have got the Seven of Wands. Now this card implies this idea of indecisive, or perhaps not working on what you could be working on at the moment. There's this idea that perhaps if you are someone who sits back and allows things to come to you, that you need to maybe even push through that, and you need to actually be a bit more active and a little less passive when it comes to your own sort of growth, your own ability to work on things, your own plan to action, so to speak. What to keep in mind, we have got the Wheel of Fortune reversed. Now, this card is definitely urging you to remember that things are always changing. Things are always, nothing is ever going to be set in motion. Things are always going to be changing. So perhaps what one day is presenting you with is not going to be what another day is presenting you with. And I feel like this card is representing quite a massive change in your life is coming up, and something that you're not going to be able to prevent, something you're not going to be able to stop, and it's gonna take quite its effect on you. So you need to remember that, and perhaps give yourself something to be focused on when this happens. What you need to revisit that you thought you were done with. It feels as though you are potentially at the moment coming through something, or you have been through something very recently that has taken its toll on you, which is probably perhaps why you're searching for a spiritual sign for what to move on to and what to be doing at the moment. It feels as though you need to acknowledge what you're trying to go through, because it feels as though you're struggling at the moment, and it's as though you have the ability to overcome this. You definitely have the strength to overcome this. You're just not quite there and unlocking it at the moment. You just have a few more things you need to do before you can do that. And maybe this will come with the big change that's coming in your life. Maybe this will actually set the wheel in motion for you to go back to what you've been through and actually discover a way to overcome it. And maybe this is why you've been putting off projects. Maybe this is why you've been struggling to work on things, because you're being held back by setbacks, you're being held back by negative energies, and you're just not feeling so confident in your own abilities at the moment. So your reward for taking this into guidance is going to be the Ace of Cups. Now this implies to me this genuine fresh start, this genuine emotional nourishment, replenishment, and flourishing. And I feel like this reward will come when you learn to acknowledge your past and learn to overcome that, and learn not to mask it with projects that aren't assisting to your growth and overwhelming yourself with getting things done. So I feel like overall, if you take this reading into account and if you take this as guidance, there is something coming your way that you need to be aware of. So keep your magician in tune, keep being aware of synchronicities, keep being aware of signs, allow it to ease you through this big change, and allow it to give you an overall message for how to overcome your past and how to actually acknowledge what you've been through, so you can then get the emotional fresh start that you need and the emotional replenishment that you need. So that was my reading for the bullet shell. If it resonated with you, please let me know in the comments and leave me a like if you like this video. I've got all my links in the description below for Facebook, YouTube, Twitter and Instagram, and also my Patreon, so if you want to follow me on those, then that is great. Thank you for your continued support, and I'll see you next week. Okay, so finally we are on the black stone. So if you pick the black stone, this is the reading for you. We have got 5 cards. Oh my goodness. Alright, we've got a lot of air energy in this reading, so if you're an air sign, maybe this is why it called to you, and if you are an air sign, let me know in the comments. We have got Temperance reversed, the 7 of Swords reversed, Judgment, the Page of Wands reversed, and the Knight of Pentacles. So immediately I am drawn to these 3 cards here. So we'll start with Temperance reverse as the overall energy and theme of your Saturn retrograde. And it feels as though there's going to be a presence in your Saturn retrograde who is going to be quite a controlling and manipulative character. I feel like they're going to have this ability to meddle with thoughts of yourself and perhaps those who are close to you or who are close to them. I feel like they're going to be quite a looming presence in your Saturn retrograde, and you may struggle to sort of bring power over them. We have the 7 of Swords as a major lesson that you need to learn, and I feel like this card is really urging you to let go of this person and to let go of how they are affecting you and let go of how they are holding you back from making a decision and moving forward with your journey and moving forward in your life. It feels like an element of yourself knows that this person is holding you back, and there's this acknowledgement that you know that this person is being too involved than they should be, but you can't quite let go of them and you can't quite let go of it. We have Judgment coming up as what you need to keep in mind, and I feel like this card links itself to the 7 of Swords also, with this idea that if you learn to let this person go and you learn to be more in control of your own thoughts, you can be offering yourself a brand new awakening, and there is opportunity here for you to freely use your voice and have the strength and support system around you to be more yourself and to have more control over your decisions and to feel stronger and more confident in yourself and your new sense of identity. Now the Page of Wands, which is what I was drawn to at the beginning, I feel is this Temperance person. I feel that these 2 characters link together. I feel like these 2 characters are the person who is going to be holding you back. So it feels like what you need to revisit that you thought you were done with is the way this person makes you feel, or is this person themselves, and actually realizing how they are still managing to hold you back, like, and actually acknowledge this element of yourself that you know that they're holding you back, but you haven't quite fully embraced it. And you need to actually full on let yourself know this person is manipulating what you're doing, and they're not allowing you to see your journey clearly, and they're not allowing you to move forward. So overall, what will be your reward? Now, even though the Knight of Pentacles doesn't look like they know where they're going, they still are very clear set on their destination. They have a guidance, an external guidance of their horse that is pulling them through, that is pushing them forward, that is getting them towards their destination. So I feel overall, if you learn to let this person go and you take this reading into guidance, while you may not be so clear on your destination, you will actually start to see yourself moving forward. And you might actually start to see yourself doing as Judgment said, reaching out to others, looking to those around you, looking to your more local support system to give you more direction and to give you more guidance. So that was my reading for the Black Stone. If it resonated with you, please let me know in the comments. I've got all my links in the description below for Facebook, Twitter, YouTube and Instagram, so if you want to follow me on those, then that's great. And I've also got a link to my Patreon, so if you would like to join my Patreon, then please do. Thank you for your support, and I hope you enjoyed the reading. That was my reading for Saturn Retrograde. If you liked it, please leave me a like. If you want to comment on it, if it resonated with you, or if you have any more questions, please leave me a comment and I will get back to you when I can. Thank you for your continued support, and again, all my social media links are in the description below. So thank you for joining me, and thank you for your support.